Training camp is heating up. 33 days until kickoff of the 2024 season. And my friends, it's not just the UFL that's heating up. We'll talk about more when we come back.
I got happy. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got happy.
As everybody can see, this is the XFL edition of the Bottom Line Show. As I've got, well, with the exception of those guys.
Listen, your producer is going to kick in. You guys actually have a special guest. Brett's having technical difficulties, but Mike Palco from the Michigan Panthers is coming on your show in about a few minutes. So this is the XFL version of the Bottom Line.
Yeah. Well, you know, all I can say in my defense to this point is all these guys around here, I've got a couple seasons under my belt with these guys.
Yeah, you do.
If the USFL wants to get represented, they either got to get some stuff in the mail to me, or we got to get this damn season, going so that I can start getting to some of the USFL cities.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. As you can see, we didn't have a big night so far.
Hey, Train, why don't you bring everybody up to speed that maybe wasn't listening an hour ago?
No problem. If you caught our little a hit a little while ago, the first half of the 7 o'clock hour, we are now a part of Roku and Fire Stick. You can now find Fuel Sports Network on the Fire Stick. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and on Roku, your Roku TV app. Let's bring in Brett the Hitman right now. Boom, there he is.
There he is.
Fashionably late, like always, baby.
Sir, Brett, who are we bringing on tonight? Well, who's the special guest? You threw that out there with us, man.
Mike Palco, man. He's another one of us, man. He's a super fan from up in Michigan. He's a big Panthers fan. He actually worked at the Michigan Hub last year at Ford Field. He worked for the Stars actually in the video group. So I was excited to bring him on, man. He's one of us. I'm gonna get him in our in my group, and he's gonna help me admin and help us run the thing during the season. But Mike's awesome. He's supposed to be coming on here shortly.
So being a Vikings fan, do we need to set the stage before Mike comes on? Is he just going to be talking UFL, or is he going to be an official spokesman for Dan Campbell? Which ones are going to be?
Oh, look at that!
I got my.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. He's going to be.
I was in it. I was a part of, not a part of the league, but I was a fan once it came back. So I'm all in on spring football. But
when I heard you were coming on, I had to run up to my closet real quick. Had to get this on for you, just to, you know.
They're they're a rough team. They're a tough team in the North Division. So I can't.
They've got new life. Nothing more than a $25 million cap increase to say you can now sign JJ Jefferson. He's not getting away now. We have no excuses.
It's going to be a fun time. I actually was looking forward to just how the division shakes out with the Lions. That's first time in my life I was able to get a division championship T-shirt. So I was happy to get one of those for a change.
Hey, you know
I
what?
I got one last year, but
I ain't got room to talk, so I can't jump on you for that because you probably have almost as many as I do. So.
Well, hey, fellas, we've got the NFC North pretty much covered with us, Chad. I mean, we got a Bears fan and myself. Daddy Ed's a Vikings fan, and then we got a Lions fan with Mike on tonight. The only thing we're missing, well, I wouldn't say we're missing, is a Packers fan.
Dirty could be a Packers fan. I could be a
No, you
Packers
can't. You're a Bears fan. You're a Bears fan.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
But well, exciting days. Camps kicked off with the. I know it's an XFL day, but for the UFL, exciting times now. We're seeing teams starting to, what is it? Onboarding days complete with everybody in the league. I saw 1,000 players or so onboarded into Arlington. So we're excited as fans here. So we just need to get this ticket thing, with the Panthers. I think they're ready to go. They're, myself included.
When are they getting that fixed, Mike? When are they getting that corrected? I was told this week where Panthers fans will be able to start finally buying single game tickets. Where are we at on that? Do you know?
I called the number today. I didn't leave. Oh, I did leave a voicemail, but hopefully I hear something back, and now I'll go the email route, see if that works too. But hopefully something soon too, because I'm ready to pounce on some tickets. So it's incredible. So we're ready to go.
Yeah, I see Michigan signed a wide receiver that was a former Guardian today.
Yep.
Lance Lenore. Do you have anything that you can add about this guy?
He was one of the impact players in the XFL, not XFL, the return of the USFL. So he was one of the big three wide receivers. So it's good to have him back when it was all in the Birmingham hub down there. We didn't have him with us in the Michigan last season, but now when he's back in the wide receiver room, so I think it's a pretty underrated wide receiver room. I said even last year, like Michigan just felt like they are a quarterback away to really doing damage in spring football, and they have EJ Perry now, who I think it's a clean sheet as far as competition goes, because now you have, from my experience too, working in the Philadelphia Stars, I was able to see Coach Marcel and some of these team meetings couple times in just his detail, and I know he's a head coach in Canada as well for a college or a university rather, and just he's really detailed. We were just when he was showing the wide receivers, he was going So Chris, so I was in the Detroit hub, but now that the Stars are I was on the Philadelphia Stars, but in the Detroit hub. Always supported the Michigan Panthers while they're being born and raised in Michigan. Reason why I didn't, so they gave me an option to either work with the Panthers or Stars. The Stars had the morning slot because I do real estate for my line of income. So I thought, okay, so I can do the mornings. Then once I was done working with the Stars, I can go back north about an hour and some change, and do my actual fantasy job, I suppose.
So Brett, what hot questions do you got to fire away at him on?
That was about it. On just worried about the single game tickets. Also curious to see if Mike. He had told me, they had some job postings in Arlington. Have you entertained the thought of coming south for the spring? And
I don't think it's feasible for me right now. I'm trying to find some work with, see what I can get involved with up here with either Ford Field, Michigan. So I've been in talks with even the Lions too, because I know they got some sales workshops coming up too that I'm going to, I've reached out to them. So hopefully something comes up with that. Just so, hey, I'll help be on the front lines with boots on the ground marketing. I'm trying to get in that route too, because use some of my experiences and things that I've had and as far as sports goes, because that's what I've studied. That's what I went to school for. So sports management, sports administration, what have you. So I love all about spring football. Lions will always be there. I will really love to help grow this thing, and I think this can succeed. And I think it's the greatest value in sports ticketing right now. What you get as far as where you get to see the game too at an NFL stadium for a fraction of the cost of a Lions game. As much as we all enjoy the success of the Lions, It's actually, and it's priced a lot of people out too. It'd even go to a single game too, and you can be a season ticket holder for at a professional football venue for maybe less than half the cost for being a Lion, some of these Lions single game tickets. So I think this is a great time for people to take, your families, your friends to a football game. Have a good time. I've enjoyed every game, working for the Stars. And after the Stars games, whether it be on a doubleheader day or even the next day, I was at every Michigan Panthers game as a fan, and in that last game too, I was torn with the Stars and Panthers, that being a playoff game without it being a playoff game. It was, win and you're in. So I was, as much as because Ford Field didn't have a win with the Michigan Panthers, so Panthers winning at the same time, it broke my heart because if the Stars won the championship, everyone on the staff would have got a championship ring. So Panthers had a tremendous comeback of that game. They blocked the punt right in front of me. I was up in the press box, and it was a mixed emotions, but great. It was all season. The fans showed up that game too. I think that one had the most amount of people because once you have, and that's one thing that's so important. What we brought up when you look at the league rules, every division game. So when you see these division games, it's cut and dry. The top two in each conference, that's your playoff, and every game. I think every game matters when you have the format. I know the Battle Hawks, with the 7-3, but that was a tough break, but we all know, hey, you got to win your division games. You got to take care of it. So, and it's going to come down. I think this whole league too. They talked about it too on another podcast. It's going to come down to I think the last week. I don't think there's going to be any bad teams. I think every team's going to they're going to rack up. I don't see a team with less than maybe 4 wins. I think it's all going to come down to that last week, in my opinion.
So go ahead. So having said that, Mike Nolan coach team, all we've been hearing all the preseason, of course, and probably me included, has all been on the Birmingham Stallion, Memphis Showboat bandwagon. And what do we need to know about the Michigan Panthers that's going to let everybody know that they shouldn't be overlooked?
Well, a lot of the fans know too, and I mentioned, just a quarterback's one thing that would be very key for this team. They know the defense, linebackers. Frank Ginda's coming back. Defense wasn't all too bad. We just had with the Michigan Panthers, they had some trouble some games just moving the ball, getting points. There was a couple situations too where I think it was even against this Birmingham Stallions, just making sure that you maximize on maybe field goal opportunities too, because I know Cole Murphy's he's a sharp one at kicker. So we're looking forward to seeing him back out in the field. But overall, I feel like these guys could be, in a sense, what I think the Maulers were last year, maybe with just a little bit better offense than what the Maulers were. So just be up by a couple possessions. Just work that clock. I think this is going to be one of your smash mouth teams in the league because you have Wes Hills at tailback. It's going to be, and you see LeColby here. So 6'9" on the offensive line. So you got some beef up front. So to be able to move the ball, grind it. EJ Perry can move too. He can move. Yes. Run the football. So I think Michigan will be one of your smash mouth teams in the league.
Well, I really like, we kind of adopted LeColby as one of our favorite sons, and we were happy. We couldn't, it was awesome to see him actually get signed by one of the teams, and we couldn't be more happy for him, and we're hoping that he kills it. He was a big dude to begin with, but I've been watching him leading up to the season. He's even bigger now than he was when you guys signed him. So the talent, I'm sure, is raw, but I'm pretty excited to see where this guy's going to go. Now, hopefully he's a slow starter. I don't want him to kick ass too much in week 1, but, as long as he gradually makes that climb, that's what I'm looking for.
And I can't wait to see you at Ford Field too. If you haven't been to Ford Field, so if there's any not Birmingham, but Battle Hawks fans watching, if you're going to make the trip up to Ford Field, there's not a bad seat in the house there. not a bad seat. So you can, I want to sit at the 50. And, if I don't think they have the end zones open, but there's not a bad seat in that place too. Nothing's too steep. It's a steady incline to your seats, and you not a bad view in there. I think you're going to be very impressed if you haven't been at Ford Field before. So I know, Ed, you're going to be making the trip up there. So I think it's going to be one of your favorite venues that you've been to.
So what's the track look like in late March, heading across the frozen tundra of Michigan?
Well, I
mean, is it going to be an okay drive, or are we going to get stuck in a blizzard?
Well, we're getting 60 degrees this week, so it's going to be a little. This is we haven't had your typical Michigan winter this year, so I think we'll be just fine with that.
I think Mike was kind of sandbagging a little bit about his Panthers last year. They've got and they returned quite a few of their guys, including the leader, Gidna, the linebacker. They were a quarterback away from being a championship squad last year. They had an absolute championship defense, in my opinion. They were one of the three northern teams that really had fantastic defenses, just didn't have the quarterback play. So if EJ Perry does develop, they've already signed quite a few wide receivers and some protection, like you said there at offensive line. Michigan could definitely be a player in the USFL conference. They do need and deserve a little bit more respect. And I think there's so many of these teams are so evenly matched. That's going to be the key with Michigan, is if they can if they can develop that quarterback position, they're going to be tough. Their defense held down Birmingham last year. They held down really every offense. It's just like Mike mentioned, just they had a problem moving the ball. They had a big problem early in the season with quarterback play.
Yeah, and I was rewatching the USFL North Championship game, and that's on YouTube. I think it's probably one of your better, if not the best, USFL game from last year. And those who aren't familiar with it's a good to see how the USFL kickoff is and how what we're gonna see in this league moving forward. For now, I think they'll adjust to what the NFL does. I really do. Should the NFL get votes to change the kickoff rule to the XFL, I think the UFL will adjust to that. But for now, but with that being said, too, that game went to overtime, and the Birmingham Stallions, I was like, man, if this team was to match up with Birmingham in that championship game, I think they would have gave them a run, because EJ Perry threw 374 yards in that game. And the first time when Birmingham, when they matched up with Michigan, they only played them once, and they didn't have EJ on the roster at that time. And I think that they played Josh Love. Josh Love won a few games for the Panthers, but then they went in a different direction. I think it was I would have loved to see EJ Perry lead in the Michigan offense against Birmingham, but they went to overtime. Incredible game. I loved being there too, and I loved it. It was great in Canton. The Michigan fans traveled. There was a lot of Michigan Panthers fans there at the game too. It was a great time. One of my favorite memories too was being able to be on the field holding the American flag too. That's one that I'll cherish. I hope I get to do that sometime if they rotate the games around, what have you. But that was a lot of fun.
Can I step in real quick? Y'all can tell Mike's my boy, man. I love Mike. We've been talking for a while now. He is a fantastic super fan. He's a good salesman. And I know the league, some of the representatives will definitely, if not watch the show now, they'll watch it later. You guys need to really look at Mike. Y'all need to hire Mike. Mike is all about sales, marketing, promotion. He's like me. He's trying to help you guys out for free right now. But y'all need to hire the man and let him help y'all grow that Michigan Panther fan base. Because I'm telling you, he's the type person you guys need. I think he's got the education you guys always look for. He's got all that in place. All he needs is an interview with the right people, and y'all need to make that happen. Get that boy a job.
I appreciate that.
Get that boy a job with the UFL. I want to cut, Mike. But anyway, I'm telling you, the league needs
negotiable.
You're right. The league needs more folks like Mike, because I'm telling you right now, there would be a lot more butts in the seat if you hired that guy to go around and talk about his experiences with the USFL and what we're looking forward to with this league coming up. So that's all I got to say about Mikey right now.
Thank you for the kind words, Mr. Brett. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Checks in the mail, right?
I'll do PayPal here.
Now, Mike would be fantastic. We need a couple mics in every city. Maybe not St. Louis. Y'all got that handled.
We're covered.
Yeah, they're covered. They're covered. But some of these other cities, man, before you know it, because I'm telling you, you ask any of the fans, anybody that you have brought to the game with you or got to come to a game, I've not had one person give me one bad experience, been unhappy. They grow as a fan. Next thing you know, they're watching their team games, on TV, or they're just watching the whole entire league. And they always come back to the next game or just whenever they're available again. They're basically, what I'm saying is, a fan for life. It's just a matter of getting them in the gates that first time.
Yeah, and with and I want to talk a little bit about the experience too. We're just being around spring football. That was probably the greatest experience of my life. Even being with like the Philadelphia Stars, in that hub, Eastern Michigan. I being in the film part of it. The best time I had was when I was able to. It's called the Rover Cam. It was a stick where you would have to stay. I would have to stand about 5 or 10 yards behind Case Cookus. And I got the monitor I'm looking into. So it looks like, as when you watch the film, it looked, you would extend it up. So it was like a zip line cam. If when you watch the games on, NFL and what have you, Fox, it was like your zip line cam. And you see the O-line and everything, but just hearing like the conversation with Bart Andrews, man. I coach youth football too. And I took a lot of how they taught the game. These guys were teachers. Obviously they told the guys day one, like, hey, this is pro football. You guys are competing for jobs, really setting that tone for what this thing's all about. Because trying to get to the NFL, that's where they all ultimately want to be, and I think everybody wants them to go there too. So, but just seeing Case Cookus, he was always a level head too. So I think the Showboats fans got a really quality quarterback. Where I'm excited to see how he does with Coach Flip. I saw him last week too. I think he's going to be thrilled. I think with Case Cookus, and Showboats fans have a lot to be excited for. I think they're going to be throwing the ball around a ton, they did it with Bethel Thompson last year. I think you're going to see a lot of that too. So lots to look forward to in this league. Showboat fans are going to be in for a good ride.
Pretty good. I like that. Hey, folks, this is the bottom line. We're doing the UFL training camp update. I am the executive producer of the A-Train. That is up there. That is Big Daddy Ed. That's Brett. And our guest is Mike Palco. All right, I want to make sure I get that out there. Hey, folks, make sure that you go to Roku TV. That's where we are right now. It's live. You can't see it behind me, but that's what I got in the background. That's the Roku TV. We're currently live. You can go to Fuel Sports Network right now and make sure that when you do the search, Fuel Sports Network is there. Make sure you grab the app and you can watch our content live as we're going on right now.
The only problem with that is, A-Train?
What's that?
When you got a size head like I do, and we've had such beautiful weather, right?
Wait a minute.
So yesterday, you just turned around and looked, didn't you? So yesterday I went to our fine sponsor, Wild Sun Winery, with my daughter Amanda and Dirty, just to kind of take advantage of the weather a little bit. I was having a little cab, doing a little Norton, having a little rosé with Mama Bear.
Yes, sir.
The only problem with that is that I was sitting in direct sun. So when you've got like a receding hairline and thin hair like I got and a big nose like I got, it don't take long to get fried. So I am noticing already that, God, on a 75-inch screen, they're probably wondering what the hell. See, I got the little raccoon thing going with the red nose and white eyes, you know. So I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to be a little bit better about the day before type of things if I'm gonna be on Roku on these big ass screens, you know.
He said you look
Man,
like you're red like a crawfish.
Good Lord.
hey, we're
Listen,
gonna need
man,
that. Now that we're on Roku, we're gonna need a makeup team, man. We're gonna need something.
Yeah, I got a little sheen going, you know.
I think in the
Mike,
settings too of the
Mike looks like a wily veteran, though. He's got that little shade thing going on. I'm like bright sunlight still.
So we got a question for Mike. Who's going to be EJ prime target other than Hicatini? Do you got you got an answer to that one?
I think it's got to go back to Trey. I think big play Trey there. He made he had he had a stint with the Lions for a little bit, but I think he'll be the guy. And I'm honestly too. This is going to be incredible to see what would EJ. I assume he'll be the guy. But with Coach Marcel coming from the Stars, it's going to be a wide receiver driven offense. So I think Tennessee, those who pay attention to the SEC, like Tennessee is a wide receiver driven offense too. So I think the having that Coach Marcel from the Stars, and he brought 3 or 4 wide receivers from the Stars too. So I don't think they don't have to relearn much of the playbook, all the routes and things. So it's just going to be a matter of, the chemistry. And then Coach Nolan too said at the town hall that he's going to obviously adjust what the personnel is. I think we're going to have a lot of balance. Last year they were more like run heavy, but I think you're going to see more of a passing game. I'm really excited to see how it unfolds, especially week 1. Week 1's going to be big, especially against the Battlehawks. So buckle up, St. Louis. I think you're going to be in for a show week 1.
Yeah, you guys got 2 great matchups in the first 2 weeks of the season, both at home.
Yeah, Brett, I'm looking right at you, Brett. I thought about it too. It's like,
Hey, in honor of Ric Flair's 75th birthday today. Woo!
Happy birthday, Ric Flair.
You got 2 big weeks to start off the UFL season for the Michigan Panthers. Of course, you said mentioning about the Battlehawks in that first opening game, and then right after that, you got the USFL champions in the Birmingham Stallions, both at Ford Field. So this is for everybody that's a Panthers fan. You need to come on out to these games, man, because these are 2 big matchups to open up the season. And so you want to get on it very quick. Go ahead, Daddy Ed.
Could you imagine if Michigan goes 2-0 in those games? Could you imagine?
Yeah, but in the same respect, isn't 3 of your first 4 at home? I think 3 of your first 4 games are at home. And so it's important for Michigan to start fast because if they burn 3 home games early in the season and they end up 1-2 or 0-3 or something like that, it could be a long season. So it's important for Michigan to start fast, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna, we're gonna need everybody we can, your friends, everybody, because there's even times too. Again, and it was against the Maulers. I remember that it's loud enough to where in that building that they've caused the Maulers to get a few false starts when they were on offense. So they can be loud in that dome. They're ready to go, and I think this league, you're gonna have more traction. I think that's more known, but we just got to get that ticket situation taken care of. Hopefully that'll come this week because I'm ready to, I got the cards ready to get some season tickets. So I'm looking forward to it.
Right now, Mike, I know right now it's seeming like that, they got 2 big matchups coming. They got these 2 big matchups coming up. And you mentioned something about they had zoned off the end zones and stuff. Why is that? Because you want to see if you can, get as many people as you can in the inside, correct?
Yeah, so I think if they sell enough where they can pull the tarps off, and do that. I honestly think if I had the choice between sitting on the sideline or end zone. I think it's gonna be sideline for me every time, because you get this how you're able to see, left to right versus, when they're all the way on the other opposite end zone, and you're looking up at the screen or what have you. I mean, I know some people try to, they sit front row, want to get the football, all that stuff, but I noticed just on the ticket map that they do not have the end zones available right now. Hopefully that changes, like what the Battlehawks have just done. I think they opened up the upper level, I believe. So hopefully that's a situation Michigan runs into. But if you can, I think if you can pack the sidelines too, because I know some stadiums, don't know how Birmingham or Memphis, if they're doing both sides too, or if it's just one side for tickets being available.
One side to start with. Now Memphis, I believe their situation's a little different. Their stadium's under construction, so they're going to be forced for this upcoming season to only have fans on one side of the stadium for construction purposes. But Birmingham last year, they would open up one side and then open up another side. The 2 night games that we had last year, the first game of the season and the playoff game, we had really, really good crowds. But the other games, unfortunately, were during the day, and it was quite hot. And I think they only opened up the other side maybe once.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll have that problem moving forward, because we've got a few more night games this season. And again, I'm all for a February start, being down here in the South. And Arlington knows what I'm talking about, being when he was down in Houston. Man, come May and June, it get hot down here. And real humid too. You say, oh, it's only 88 degrees. Yeah, that air is thick. Thick. It's not 88 degrees like in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a different kind of 88 degrees.
Well,
I'm blessed.
I'm happy that I'm sorry to all the non-dome. I appreciate, I love watching out when I'm watching the games on television. I like, it's good to have outdoor stadiums. But I'm blessed, at us in Michigan. I know it gets cold here too, but have a dome for this. We're guaranteed to have football. I know it's a big reason too. They talked about, even at the town hall, Jim Pop was on there too. And one of the questions, even my brother asked too, are they going to rotate the games around? And he said part of having a dome too, especially with it being in St. Louis, the likelihood of a storm impacting the game, it may be slim, but when you're in a dome, you are 100% going to have a game or a kickoff. So I personally, for me, I like having, being a part of or having the games at Canton, because I think is important too for the players, especially. This is more so for like the players too, just so they can just, for those who haven't been to Canton to see the NFL Hall or the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not necessarily NFL Hall of Fame, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame it's probably one of, if you're a football junkie, probably like all of us here, you gotta go. They even have a spring football display too. It's going in that room with all the busts, it's incredible. Even, just to see all the football legends there. And it has me thinking too, hopefully there's a day where, sometime down the road where the UFL can have like its own thing, where if maybe, if there's players that, maybe they don't reach the NFL, but if you can get recognized too for being one of your impact players in the UFL going forward, and have some ceremony or enshrinement for them too, I think would be pretty neat in my opinion.
Well, all I would say to the Detroit ticket, whoever's running the tickets, don't give up on the end zone seats. And the reason I say that is if you look at the Battle Dome here in St. Louis, some of your most rabid fans, I guess it's almost like a cult following, I call it, because you look in that end zone, some of the most rabid fans we have sit in the end zone, and they wouldn't have it any other way. When you have teams that have the ball inside the 10 or whatever, and that look on TV of what that end zone crowd is like when they're in a fever pitch, that couldn't be any more the case in St. Louis. So, I mean, that end zone crowd can really make an impact. I mean, look at the Vegas game we had, and we went into overtime with them last year. When they were down in that end zone, the end zone crowd was rabid, and I'm sure it had an effect on the game. and the look of that win when the Battlehawk players started scaling the wall and running up the aisles and being with the fans and enjoying the win and everything. I mean, I understand the nice side view, but I hope it doesn't take Detroit long to open up that end zone, because I think it's all part of the experience as well.
Yeah, and I agree too. And like so if we want to do a round table too about what's your preferred seat at a game. So like for me at Ford Field, I like to be 50-yard line, and I know I love it too with the ticket pricing too. Obviously with it being the lower bowl, I couldn't pay these tickets for a Detroit Lions game right now. This 50-yard line, so I'm really thrilled.
Not many people legally could either.
Yeah, so,
legally.
I'm all about the 50-yard line, halfway up, so you can see the depth, plays develop.
yep.
I'm all about that. But when it comes to just overall game experience, I'm a little torn when I see some of what's going on in the end zone. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ed. I'm here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, home of, University of Alabama, Crimson
Those
Tide. We've had those guys. We've had season tickets, guy. I guess we had them for over 30 years. And for about 8 or 9 years, they were about 10th or 12th row in the end zone. And the fans typically in the end zone are wilder. They're louder. They know that when the offense is backed up, if they're an educated fan base, they know that's when you stand up. That's when you yell. The opposing team, like you said, can't hear. And then a lot of times you'll have players run up to you in the stands. If you held a gun to my head, my preference would be end zone, because you can see, everything develop from that. It's like they would say, a gamer would say, the Madden view.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how everybody plays Madden. So, I mean, I've had good seats, bad seats, and indifferent, but Ed's got something. You remember the dog pound in Cleveland, the old dog pound. I mean, now I'll say the Roughnecks in 2020 and last year, they had some ravenous, some good fans in the end zones at those games.
You got the Roughnecks, but we got the Battlenecks. Nobody's quite like the Battlenecks, I'll tell you that.
And the point too with the end zone as well too. If you want to see the O-line play, the holes open up, so that'd be your spot to go. It's like if you're scouting the O-line, or just want to see how that where's these holes, who's opening up the holes. So, and I'm so used to being and I see a comment too, just like the black hole in Oakland, the Raiders fans.
Right.
For me I've been a lot of my last decade was either on the sideline or in the end zone, like way up high, filming with the camera. So sideline, they call it the all 22 angle, where you see everybody on the field. So I'm just I guess I'm so used to being high up overlooking. I film hockey too, so I'm always just overlooking. I just like to be able to see everything too. But I know it's so great too, because there's a different experience in like every seat. So if you're in one, maybe if you're a single game ticket holder, great opportunity. Hey, let's see sideline. I've never been front row for a football game, but great opportunity for UFL. Hey, what's front row like? Behind the player's bench, or even end zone. You get the chance to be able to see different angles of the game. So I think that's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me see. The closest I've been, I was second row last year at Protective Stadium for the Stallions and Breakers game, right behind the Birmingham bench, and I really enjoyed that. And one thing about that is got to interact a lot with a lot of the players.
Mm-hmm.
We going back and forth, and you have some players' family members that was sitting around us, and that was a pretty neat experience too. So there's something to definitely be said for that, because you're not going to have that type of interaction throughout the game,
Mm-hmm.
In the end zone. But I want to say we got season tickets this year. Me and a buddy, and I want to say Marty. I went to the town hall, of course, a few weeks ago at Protective in Birmingham. And we got to visit where we were sitting, excuse me. And it was a pretty awesome. I think you got 45-yard line, about maybe 25th row. And again, Protective is kind of set up very similar to Ford Field. It's not vertical. So You're not very high up at all. It's actually a perfect angle. And of course, you always got to, when you're a little fat boy, you always got to figure out how far do I got to walk to a concession stand or a bathroom too. So I got to give a shout out to my buddy that took care of that when I couldn't make it when I was sick. He did pretty good with our seats. But definitely, if any of you Birmingham fans are watching or you're considering going to a Birmingham game, there is not a bad seat at Protective Stadium. It's a new stadium. It's in a redone, very, very easily accessible part of town, right next to Legacy Arena, the old Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center. It's also been renovated. Plenty of parking, and it's definitely worth the trip. So if any of you Memphis fans want to come down, St. Louis, I'm telling you, if you come to a game at Protective Stadium, you'll definitely be back.
Well, I tell you, things are heating up now because as we talked to Coach DiFilippo about the talent that's not on rosters right now is kind of waiting in the wings. I've been listening to the coaches talk to the players. They had, Facebook, I saw Coach Holtz was addressing his team, and I saw Coach Beck addressing his team. And I got to believe that, it's only been a couple days of camp so far, but they're constantly evaluating, and I got to think that it's not going to be too long. We're going to start seeing players that are released and players that are being signed. And, we've already seen some of that already, players being signed. So I wish I was independently wealthy, because if I was, I'd be down at training camp right now watching, because I would just be mesmerized listening to training camp and the drills and the coaches talking and just the overall experience of it. I wish I could go down there and watch it, but if I only lived in Texas. But I would. Yeah, it wouldn't take me long to want to get out of Texas. So it's definitely, definitely would be a snowbird. That's for sure. I'd be down there for probably 2 months, and then I want nothing to do with it. So.
When was the town hall down in Arlington? A-Train. When was that? It was 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
You talking about the one with Danny and the Rock?
Right.
Yeah, that was. I want to say it was 2022.
Yeah. I flew down there, and we were having a big heat wave here in Alabama, and flew down from Birmingham to Dallas, Fort Worth. And you don't talk about heat now. I mean, Texas, that's a desert, but you still got you're close to the Gulf, so you've got the moisture, and you've got the heat index. I got off that plane, and somehow or another they made us walk outside to get into the airport. And I'm gonna tell you, I got off that plane, and that air hit me, and I swear I about hit my knees. And I said, "Oh hell!" I said, "There ain't no way I could live in Texas." And I tell you what, those 2 days, I can't remember when that was. A-Train, was that May, June? When was that?
Talking about that town hall?
Yeah.
That was like during the summer, but they had
it was hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say the 2 or 3 days I was down there, I think every day it was 105, 107 without the heat index. I'm telling you, man, I was on that tarmac, and that air hit me, and I was like, oh God. And I'm looking around like, and I want to say, I guess I can't brag about my Alabama heat anymore, because I was like, man, I about fell out in the parking lot.
Are you saying you left a grease spot? Is that what you're saying whenever you got up?
I'm going to tell you what, what's that old saying in Alabama, in the heat of summertime, from the time you leave your front door to the time you hit your mailbox, you already sweating? I came off that plane and hit that first step, and I remember saying, oh, hell. And, everybody looked around at me, and good God, how do you people live here?
Look, Amanda said that's a place you feel moisture in places you don't want to feel it. Look.
Yeah, that was me. That was me trying to climb the stairs in D.C. It was like I sat 2/3 of the way up in the corner of the end zone, and it's like climbing a ladder. That's all I got to say.
I'm about to say, it's steep in D.C. now. It's vertical.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, you're fortunate. You guys are indoors, and so you don't have to deal with anything of the sort.
Some, it was a little warm too. Even with the spring, with Eastern Michigan, that's where the practices were. That turf, it get warm. I'd be in shorts
Yeah.
and even a polo shirt too. It was warm on the turf. But I see Woody has a question too. So he says, since two teams share practice venue, can they see each other's practice? So how it was with the Detroit hub, they'd bus in at Eastern. And Philly would have the first practice, so we'd be there. Our practices would start.
Oh, I am so sorry.
They would do the stretching there, and by 9 o'clock, I think they would start the actual practice. And practices were very short, folks. For it was like an hour, and it was quick. And you talk about the importance of and pro football, and it's a lot of film study. So like if they didn't, reload the play, you wouldn't hear that too many times during a practice, unless it was like a bad snap or something. They would reload it, but it was if it was incomplete pass or what have you, it's on to the next play. But in terms of the question here, so Michigan would practice right like almost immediately after the Stars. So as part, can they see each other's practice? I mean, I was only there enough to where they're still warming up. I'd go. I wouldn't be there around as a Stars member, as soon as for individual stuff, I'd watch, just talk to the coaches, say hi to the players and stuff, but I wasn't there long after that. We would set up the camera equipment. We would use the same thing. It was shared. It'd be on the end zone. It was like this, it's called the 8K. It's like a trailer deal. It's a big, stem or stick rather that oversees. So rather than having people way up on a lift, this is what we use instead. I think a lot of this took place when I think it was back when I think there was a filmer that fell off the scaffolding at Notre Dame. And I think that's where this whole thing came to be. It's like, hey, let's keep the filmers on the ground, but to have the camera go way up in the air. So
you know what he was really getting at, don't you, Mike? Woody was asking you about watching each other practice.
This in the New England Patriots.
Are you putting the Michigan?
No, there wasn't
stealing practice, watching the play.
That towards that
was leaning into something there.
Towards that last week, though, coaches I think were a little paranoid, but us filmers, we're all of us were cool. We're just we're all happy to be there. We're not going to do anything that is like,
Now, I think what Woody was asking was, could it happen? Woody was asking, could it happen? Not did it happen, but could it happen?
No, I know. I mean, they were, the film director for Michigan would show up, and we would use the same camera equipment. No, they would have their own camera set of 2 cameras. We would have our own set of 2 cameras. We would actually leave the camera equipment for the next group. So we would take it all, tear it all down, leave it for them. And it all went to like the same, and it was the one thing too about the hub format too. It was 2 teams in the same building too. I thought that was really cool. One office you have, Michael Woods, and then the other GM room, you got Steve Kaiser over there. So that was really cool. And as much as they're competitive, they still had to work together as far as like scheduling, just make sure everyone got their time. So it was competing, but at the same time, you're collaborative with each other. So there was nothing. That it was just that last week. It was just because both of the seasons were on the line. It was a win and you're in week. So, it was a little fun for us filmers, anyways. We'd have like showing up to practice a little earlier than usual, huh? All of a sudden, here comes some of the Panther filmers. About we still have about I don't know 5. It was a couple minutes, but it's like look who showed up a little early. Just poking fun like that. It was nothing that'll be, nothing that got anyone in a yarn. But I know there was a few, when like, you'll see some people like watching. Everyone it'd be like, over in like the end zone at Eastern, you'll see some people just observing. No one had like a phone out or anything, but you'll see some of like the Eastern Michigan facilities teams just watching. Nothing crazy like that, but it was fine. Nothing. So could it
I don't
have?
know. It might be a little more competitive now with the USFL conference versus the XFL conference, and then now kind of all the fans are all together, so there might be a little bit more leery of all those interactions,
Well, then
But
too, as far as I know, too, when it was all in one hub, I don't know how many filmers there are for each team. For the USFL, and I don't know how the XFL was, but I know for the USFL there was 3 people in the video staff for each team. Now, at the video director that I had with the Stars, he was also in the Birmingham hub the year before. I asked them how many were there per team. It was just 1 person for each team. So, with the USFL, it was a director and 2 other people, and I don't know how it is, because I know those down in the Fort Worth area, they're looking for filmers if you're down in Texas. So, I don't know how many, but there's a check on the LinkedIn if you're not familiar, but they're looking for people getting the video. So, unfortunately,
down in Arlington,
yeah.
So how do you feel about this? There was a comment by Jay. Will you think it'd be considered an upset in week 1 if Michigan beats the Battlehawks?
Yeah. I mean, the Battlehawks have they're a solid bunch. As much as I like to poke at them, see how many feathers can pluff out, and how many ruffle a couple feathers. But no, the Battlehawks they got a nice squad. Their records, they're a 7-3 squad. Michigan was a 4-6 squad. But with what Coach Nolan even said at the town hall too, with the condensed league being back to 8, everybody's upgraded their team. And as much, and Coach Nolan said himself that as good as they feel about their team, like, oh man, we got a really solid team. 7 other teams feel the same way. So,
and I too, scheduling is scheduling. I get that, but I think the UFL, if it had been me, week 1 I would have had the 4 XFL teams playing the 4 USFL teams, because I think the fan base from every city is dying to find out how each team measures up across the lines. And so I think that first week, if they'd have made 4 matchups all out of division, that would have been ideal. But at least, with Arlington, Birmingham, and Michigan, St. Louis, that's 2 pretty good games. I think they're going to see to use the measuring stick in week 1.
Well, I think too, and you have the opening Saturday. You couldn't, I think, have a better schedule than that. I'm thrilled that we get to host St. Louis because with I know you guys are just ready to go, but hopefully you guys make the trip. I mean, there's not a bad seat, enough room for everybody too. So, but at any rate, you get. I think it could be, it could be like our North kind of Midwest rivalry. So to speak. I know they're not in the same division. If it was geographically, they would be. But if it's, I don't mind it. I thought it was gonna be like a north-south thing, initially. But since it's all gonna be in one hub and flying out, I can see that, it doesn't make, you can keep it USFL conference, XFL conference. But right off the bat, you got great games. I think they're gonna show out. Michigan Panthers fans will be ready to go because they know how. They want to show the Battlehawks fans that, hey, we can fill a stadium too. So I hope that they can do that. We look forward to it.
And Michigan had some good crowds last year. The problem that kind of happened to them is the same thing that happened to the Brahmas. They didn't play well at home.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 laying eggs 2 or 3 times, the fans, especially with a new team, new league, they'll definitely support a winner. But it did affect the crowd, because Michigan really struggled at home last year.
Yeah,
but they had some good crowds those first couple games.
Yeah.
Also, to that, what you said, also they got bad time slots. The Brahmas did, and because of that, they had games where it was like way too early, or it was on a day where it was meant for another event, and many people would go to that instead of the actual game. And I know a lot of people
Yeah.
look at that as an excuse, but still,
Yeah.
you're trying to make sure that it's plausible to get the biggest crowd possible to come to your game. So that was kind of the issue with that. But Ed, you mentioned about the having potentially week 1. Well, week 4 that will actually happen. Well, you'll have all of the you'll have XFL versus USFL. So it'll be interesting to see how well they match up against each other in that 4th week. And I mean, it's good that you have a couple of games that feature XFL versus USFL teams, but to have all 4 games to be featured in that manner is going to be pretty interesting to see what happens next. I think, Chris, I think it's the missions that they have in San Antonio. I think they're the state AAA ball club. I think that's what they got right now. And of course, everybody knows about the Spurs and stuff. So, see, yeah, that's exactly. They had a game on Eastern and a 10 p.m. game on a late game. So yeah, that was kind of hard. Uh, Tailgating in Michigan is that? And I
Me
think Woody's.
personally,
I think
me
Woody's trying to throw shade, but we're gonna see. Or double A. I'm sorry about that, Robert.
Me personally, I do not tailgate. I like to be, as a fan, I like to go in as soon as doors open. And I like to walk around, like the concourse. Because you're gonna find different tables and stuff set up. And I always, I'm always talking to staff members and such. But I'm sure that I went to a Lions game this year. I mean, I went to the one Lions game I went to. I went all decked out in Michigan Panthers stuff. So trying to be a walking billboard of sorts. But to get more attention to it. So I got a few people, I'd hear Michigan Go Panthers, from across the way. That's that was fun to hear. But as far as, and I did see the comment too about baseball too. Michigan, I think, Detroit is in a unique spot right now. For those who follow hockey, the NHL, Red Wings are looking to be playoff bound. I did see a few times at a games last year. The Detroit Tigers would be playing, and then once their game wrapped up, and Comerica Park, for where the Tigers playing, is right across from Ford Field. Leave the exit of Comerica Park, and you're walking right into Ford Field, and that's happened a few times last season. As soon as the Tigers games wrapped up, people are like, oh, let's go check out the Michigan Panthers game, and they'd be walking in, in the second quarter. So I think you're gonna have a few, there's gonna be some mixings there. Yeah, especially with the Red Wings. So that place, not Joe Louis, but the Little Caesars Arena will be filled up. We'll just have to see what the time schedules will be. So hopefully it doesn't impact them too much. But I know Michigan Panthers are going to have the noon slot. So I think it's going to be a lot of times where people will go to the Michigan Panthers games before going to a Detroit Red Wings game. So if you're going to be down there, it's, hey, let's check out the Michigan Panthers, then go watch a playoff game right after. So I think you may see a few times where that's going to come into play.
Chris, you gotta have patience, my man. It's way too early to do week 1 picks. We gotta have, easy.
You got to get through camp.
Yeah, Easy's out in Mexico sipping umbrella drinks for the last week. He's in no condition to be picking games right now. So we gotta wait till he comes back, and we'll have our official picks, and we'll keep track of them all year to come up with the undisputed bottom line champion. So, but it's too early in the game yet to
one of the big topics we can fill in, though, is we did get to see glimpses of the Under Armour practice jerseys for the teams. So we got to see Birmingham. I know Battlehawks, the USFL team. This is new territory for us fan bases, being with Under Armour. So this is going to be interesting to see, because I know all the fonts on the practice jerseys are the same. I don't know how they're going to be on the game jerseys yet. I've heard Michigan's not going to see any change. You're probably just going to have the patch there. So as Michigan fans, a lot of us are, we like our uniform. So we like the color scheme. We love the helmets. We absolutely love the helmets. So that if there's anything that, don't tweak, this is the helmet especially. We love the gold. We love everything about the helmet. But the jerseys, they're obviously my favorite uniforms in the league. I do like the the gold pants too. It's a nice. I'm not a big monochrome guy. That's what if you had a red jersey and red pants, blue jersey, blue pants. I like a little difference in colors there, but we like the combination the Panthers have. A lot of the fan base in Michigan thinks it's perfect. So Under Armour, if you see this, we're fine with just to put the patch on there. Easy work.
The only change I would make, if I could change anybody's helmet in the UFL, I would change Arlington back to the 2020 helmets.
Amen.
Their helmets they had in 2020 were the bomb.
Yeah.
They need to go back.
Bandit logo.
The Bandit logo was where it was at. So
that was a good helmet. Yeah. I do agree. There's a lot of good uniforms too.
I leave the crown off. The crown is kind of girly, but don't really go for the crown part of it. But the actual Bandit logo is pretty cool.
I got a Chris. So between the old Michigan Panthers, oh my God, this is a tough question too. Obviously, I'm only 30 years old, so I wasn't around. Obviously,
I can't even remember when
I wasn't even a thought with the first.
I can't even remember when I was 30.
So I wasn't even a thought, but I do have. I bought it online too. It's a youth size, but Michigan Panther helmet. With the original logo. And this is when the helmet was silver. It's a silver helmet with the silver face mask. So they had this when they first started. And the one thing about thank God for YouTube, because this allows me to, I like to be I'm a pro football historian in this sense. I love looking at all the, and that's one thing too. I was so fascinated with a few reasons with the USFL. One, we have a Michigan team, that's obviously as in Paul. I love, every chance there was a football game on, XFL, USFL, I was watching it. But with the Michigan Panthers helmet, though, I mean, if there was, I don't know, maybe you could darken, if they did upgrade the helmet, if they did make it like the original, but keep that modern Panthers you see behind me, but maybe the head dark, you can kind of play both modern and a tribute to the old helmet. But right now, the helmet, I think, is between the two, I'm biased towards the newer one because I've seen it in person. I've held it. I've held the helmet. I've held the Cole Murphy's helmet. Too much gold, but I don't know. You got to in person, man. They are beautiful. They are beautiful helmets. And seeing them in practice in different when they were on the road, just the lighting, how it hits versus in the dome lighting at Ford Field, then outside in the sunlight. You really see that blue stripe on the helmet pop out. So I think you get it's a beautiful helmet. I love it.
Calm down, Jimmy.
You set him off, man. I
said your logo. I said your logo was cool. It was the crown that was a little girly. Wasn't called.
Yeah, that Bandit logo. We all agree about that.
Logo is the bomb. That's what you guys need to go back to.
Hey, Mike, we gotta before we let you go, we need to get your Michigan Panther prediction for this upcoming season. I mean, tell us what you think, just record-wise. So you don't have to give. We ain't gonna hold you to it. You're a Michigan Panthers fan, but where do you think you guys stand this upcoming season?
I looked at the schedule, just look through, and I would like to see 6-4. I think that'd be fair for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a playoff berth potentially for them, or
yep, it's gonna come down to that last week, and there's gonna be games there. I think there's gonna be games too where people that project to win, it's going to be games that you think they wouldn't win that they do, and then games that you think they should win they may not. So there's still a lot to unfold. It's training camp too, but I think 6-4 would be really cool to see. So I think that's not an outside shot, especially with the Panthers retaining, getting EJ Perry back from Jacksonville, just to kind of have more stability at quarterback. And you have Danny Etling from LSU
right
there. It's an open competition room at quarterback. Let's see who can pick up this offense first.
Right.
Coach Marcel, I think he's going to be really. I think he's the devil for the details. Who can pick up on these little things. So even like that first 5-yard break at wide receivers, there'd be times where he, rolling back the footage. Even just those first couple steps. I remember, seeing it, and it's like, yeah, getting that first step out of the break, to get spacing against these defensive backs. So,
what's your XFL prediction on playoffs? Who's your two teams coming out of the XFL you think that'll make the postseason?
Well, I like DC. DC's there. Do we see Arlington back there? Hey, it's tough. You know, I mean, I was watching another podcast today too. The coaching, you got Wade Phillips now in San Antonio. A lot of people are saying don't sleep on the Brahmas with their quarterback from Central Michigan there.
Normandy.
Yep, Normandy. Yep. So he said he had a good end of the season with the Guardians last year. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think DC's there. Do we see Arlington back in there? Right now, I think so. I think they'll be a little bit better than what their record was last year, especially if they get Luis Perez back. I think
Which they did.
Yep, they did. So they're going to be. But I know, Battlehawks there. It might, you know, I think it's gonna be tough. It's coin flip. I know. I see you got the Arlingtons there. I mean, the coaching. It's gonna be. I think I'll go gun to my head. DC and let's go Battlehawks for the XFL championship.
Wow.
There. So
well, I see. Yeah. You know, I see maybe one or two teams separating from the group, but I see the rest of the group between 6-4 and 4-6. I think there's going to be that much parity that I think there's going to be a log jam at 500.
Man, it's going to be crazy. Like, well, I'm glad to see all of the competition right now, and everybody's going to have a venue. So, like, this is going to really be a special type of season. The more we keep looking at these rosters, and it's going to be tough because a lot of guys that we expect to make the team may not even make the squads. Like, and that's what's like, you're going to sit back and say, hey, man, that'd be great if we had 2 extra teams or 4 extra teams, and that way they get on those squads. That's what's going to be the hard part, is trying to keep all of these guys, because they all going to be fighting for spots on the team. I know we mentioned Lacoby Tucker, and like seeing his work ethic we seen during the showcase, he did make the Michigan Panthers, and I'm hoping, and the Lord really hoping that he does make the Michigan Panthers, because he was definitely a good talent at offensive tackle. Now I just want to see it in front of us. We know when he gets on the field, but like I said, there's a lot of great talent that may not make these squads, man. I know we sit there and we look at it. You know, we make fun of Brett's Birmingham Stallions having 150 players on the squad, but they're loaded. That's the thing. But they're gonna have to make some cuts off of that, and that's what's gonna be crazy as we get closer.
Oh, it's gonna hurt.
Well, but you know,
3 days and counting.
Like Coach DiFilippo said, they've already got their short list of players that are, you know, that aren't on a roster, but they're ready for next man up. If there's any players in camp that aren't holding up their end of the bargain, so there's a short lead.
Today was physical day, Ed. Today was physical day. There was some players that probably are not very happy. You know, was a little nervous going to take their physicals today.
Now there's a few, and I've talked to a few. One particular, Chris Nelson, who was a defensive lineman with the Philadelphia Stars. You know, with the leagues, you know, he's waiting for his chance. You know, he's still trying to talk to him today. I said, hey, you know, and you heard anything? And he said, nope, just, you know, he's probably on a lot of these teams' short lists, I imagine, because he was a quality defensive interior lineman last year for the Stars, number 97, Chris Nelson, and waiting for his shot. He's training, ready to go. So, you know, staying ready so they don't have to get ready, right? So we'll see what's going to happen here with these training camp. You know, obviously that's pro football. You know, that's the nature of the beast. They got to make these decisions, and there's not enough room. But hopefully there is a time where should this, you know, with the support of this league growing, if, you know, I don't want to get too big in expansion, but I'm probably a few years down the road, I would imagine. But if there's more room, get more room for, you know, more opportunity for players too. So that's what that'd be great if that were to be possible.
I think we talked about this on the show probably to no end, and we talk about it in the groups, you know, that we're in and that we run. I keep coming back to 12 being the sweet spot for this league, whether it's 2 years or 3 years from now. Something just keeps telling me 12 is going to be about where we're going to end up and probably where we need to stick to. Unfortunately, that wouldn't bring back all the teams that we've lost between the USFL and XFL, but that's what I keep coming back to. I think if we had 12 this year, that would have been absolutely perfect. Although I understand completely why we're at 8. You need to crawl before you run.
Yeah.
But I guess I say, like you said, it's a topic for another day.
Well, one issue that was happening with the league last year, as far as I remember in the hub, was the shortage of O-line talent with having both these leagues too, because there's not a lot of giants out there, that know how to play the position well. So they would even
and quarterback play.
Yeah. So if Birmingham was they remember that Mike Woods Birmingham released an offensive lineman last year and he got scooped up right away. Just can't find them. So now I think with the condensed league, the competition's obviously increased. So it's going to be, I think, better quality all around. So you got to be kind of careful too how much talent is actually out there,
right?
Because you don't want to diminish the quality of play, because that's what the scouts they want to see, the high quality play. So because not every scout will get it right. So because they're human too. So some guys come from smaller schools that may not have had the opportunity to be in front of scouts. Maybe they got missed. Maybe they were obviously you see a lot of NFL cast offs just looking to get their chance again. So
all right,
can't wait.
We had a lot tonight, man. We got an overtime and everything, man. We got a lot in tonight.
I sure shootout overtime.
Well, I sure appreciate you coming on, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I watch a lot of podcasts out there because I like to listen to them all, and it seems like there's one common name I see in the comment line, no matter which one I'm watching, and it's your name. So appreciate appreciate you coming on, but I also appreciate your enthusiasm for the league. So
it's incredible, and those last thing too, tell your friends, folks. This is I'm so thrilled that we have this here, and I'm sure all you guys are too. Where find a game nearest to you and go to one, and if you're not, just have that television on, keep watching all the games. You're able to see every game. Everybody should be able to know a little something about every team, because the games aren't competing really with each other. I think only a few times a year, but people got DVR streamings, what have you. You can't miss a game. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun.
UFL. Hire that guy. Hire him.
I have a feeling this won't be the only time we bring Mike on the show. So I appreciate you coming on.
I'm available Monday nights.
All right.
Hey, Mike, where can they find you on social media, man?
Yeah, I mean, that's just my one Mike Pelco there. That's on X, that's, and then Instagram I'll have I've posted a few like behind the scenes stuff that from the UFL. You'll see some pictures of like Eastern Michigan, when equipment staff, they'd set up the field, they'd have all the agility bags, footballs. I got a little creative, on Eastern Michigan, there was a wall that said champions built here. Then I'd put the USFL football facing the camera, before practice. I get a little photogenic with all the equipment there. But there's a few stuff on there, but a lot of football stuff, pictures of the Panthers helmets, pictures of the Stars helmets, just little stuff like that. So a lot of that's some inside stuff with that. So not much to it, but I like to share just little stuff like that I find fascinating, being involved, or when I was involved last year with the USFL.
I just got to say one quick thing. I see Robert's listening to the show tonight, and he's a fellow Vikings fan. So let's go, Robert. We got the 25 mil to go towards JJ, buddy. We only got to bone up about another 5 to 7 million over the top of that. That 25 definitely is going to help.
That's JJ McCarthy money for you right there.
No, I wish.
Y'all going in all in. I see. It sounds like for JJ, man. Like, listen, I'm a Houston Texans fan, and I was the Texans fan before they got DeMeco Ryan, so I don't want anybody to come and judge me and something you just got in because DeMeco's there. No, I was right there seeing that garbage with Lovie Smith, and even
Whoa.
how people in Houston got so mad. They got so mad at him winning the final game of the season, and it was a blessing in disguise. They owe Lovie Smith an apology, like everybody does. They owe Lovie's an apology.
We track the Lions fans too. I mean, I grew up, my quarterbacks, growing up, I hit, Charlie Batch, Joey Harrington, John Kitna, Dan Orlovsky. Again, I watched that game where he went into the end zone against the Vikings or the safety. So I mean, there's a lot of hardship. I mean, I rode the whole thing, but now we're happy. I know a segment for another day with the Dan Campbell thing, but I talked to other Lions fans. They're just like, yep, hey, that's our identity. When people see Lions on the schedule, like, oh, okay, this is going to be. They know what kind of team you're going to get when the Detroit Lions come to your city.
That might be a debate that could be pretty interesting. Big Daddy Ed versus Mike Palco, the Dan Campbell discussion.
Field goal or go for it.
Yeah, let's not tonight. Let's pass tonight.
We'd have to go in double overtime for
Just
that
needed
one.
2 yards.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much, man.
Hey,
thank
you guys.
coming in.
See you, Mike.
Oh,
Have a good night,
man.
everybody.
Good guy, Mike Palco, man. Yeah, we got to have him on
So-
again. in the
So,
future.
fellas, again, for those who may have joined us late, A-Train, since you and Dirty were really the founders of this great legion of I guess, podcasters, for lack of a better term, why don't you kind of fill in anybody that maybe is a late tuner-inner, just what happened tonight, what we announced tonight?
Well, folks, make sure that you go in. If you have a Roku TV, if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, make sure you can follow this show. You can follow many of our other shows at Fuel Sports Network, and make sure that you go and you check out the app and go search Fuel Sports Network, and we should be there. You can collect the app, and we'll be live, and then we'll have shows on demand, especially this show right here, The Bottom Line, for sure. Hey, I also, before we go, I gotta give kudos to Ball Hawk One, who helped get what we didn't get to do it on the other show. Also, Leo and Phil and RC. Definitely, yes. Those are people that helped out, especially Ball Hawk One. A lot of people don't know he was doing a lot of work with us behind the scenes. Yes, indeed. So thank you so much, for helping us get Fuel started. So yeah, man, we are on Roku and we're on Amazon Fire Stick. We got our own sports network, so make sure that you are on board with us today.
So everybody, we're 33 days away from kickoff of the 2024 season. There's a lot to be excited about. Go get your tickets, make plans to go to a game. So all I can say is enjoy the UFL season, and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
Anything else you got to say, Brett?
Woo!